They said I didn't even have a family, yet one night, I found my own parents dragging their suitcases through my front door, whispering about how our new house feels perfect. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just disrespect. It was betrayal dressed as entitlement. For years, they mocked me, called me the lonely one, laughed when I sat alone at family dinners. And now, the same people who rejected me were ready to claim my home as if I owed them everything. Before I go on, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because what happened next will leave you stunned. You won't believe how far they went until the end. I stood frozen, watching my mother hang her coat in my hallway like she owned the place. My father glanced around, muttering, "It's big enough for us. She doesn't even need all this space." Their words cut deeper than any insult ever had. My house wasn't a trophy. It was the result of years of silent grind, late nights, and sacrifices they never cared to notice. "Excuse me?" I finally said, my voice sharper than I intended. My father didn't even look guilty. Instead, he smirked. "Olivia, don't act selfish. You don't have a family, no kids, no husband. What do you even need this place for? We're moving in, it makes sense." My chest tightened, anger mixing with disbelief. All those years of being pushed aside, treated as less, and now, when I finally had something of my own, they wanted to strip it away. I wanted to scream, but something stopped me. A thought so wild, so dangerous, it made my pulse race. If they thought they could just take over my life, maybe it was time they found out the truth I'd been hiding all along, and that's when I realized I wasn't going to let them walk all over me this time. But what I said next? It left everyone in that room completely speechless. My father's face twisted with arrogance as he dropped his suitcase right in the middle of my living room. "From now on, this is our space," he said, pulling out his phone like he was about to call movers. My mother chimed in. "Don't be dramatic, Olivia. We raised you. The least you can do is let us live here." Her tone wasn't a request, it was a command. My blood boiled. Years of humiliation flashed in my mind. Birthdays I wasn't invited to, reunions where my chair was always accidentally forgotten, cousins who whispered that I'd die alone. They cut me out of everything, but now, suddenly, my home was perfect for them. I clenched my fists, fighting the urge to explode. "This is my house," I said firmly. "You can't just move in." My father chuckled, waving his hand dismissively. "We'll see about that. You always were weak at standing up to family. What will the neighbors think when they see us here? They'll know you finally took us back in?" Those words hit me like a punch. It wasn't just about living here. They wanted to control the narrative, to make me look like the desperate daughter begging for their presence. But little did they know, everything inside these walls, the deed, the design, even the security cameras, was in my name. As my father walked toward the kitchen like he owned it, my phone buzzed. It was a message that made my stomach twist with both fear and excitement. "The documents are ready. Do you want me to deliver them now?" My lips curled into a tight smile. They had no idea that the very thing they were trying to take from me would be the weapon I used against them. But before I could respond, my brother walked in without knocking, carrying bags of his own. And the moment he opened his mouth, everything took a darker turn. My brother barged in like he owned the place, slamming the door behind him. He tossed his bags on my polished hardwood floor and grinned at my parents. "See? I told you she wouldn't fight us." "Olivia never does." My chest tightened. His words stabbed me harder than any knife. For years, he'd been their golden child, the one who inherited their approval while I was treated as invisible. Now, it felt like they'd all planned this invasion together, like vultures circling the life I had built. My mother shot him a proud look, whispering, "Good job, son. Finally, the family will live the way we deserve." I froze. The way they deserve? My blood boiled at those words. Every brick of this house had been earned by my sleepless nights, my lonely battles, my sacrifices. Not a single person standing in front of me had lifted a finger to help. Yet they acted as if my success was theirs to claim. I forced myself to stay calm, though anger trembled through me. "You can't just show up here with your bags like this is a hotel. I said. My brother smirked, leaning against the wall. Actually, sis, that's exactly what we're doing. You've been living in this mansion all alone. You don't even have a husband, no kids, no family. So why not let your real family move in? Unless... His grin widened cruelly. You think you're better than us now? Those words cut deep. That had always been their weapon, shame. Making me feel small, like I'd never measure up. But as I looked around at their smug faces, something inside me shifted. For years, I had hidden the truth to avoid conflict. I stayed quiet while they mocked me. I let them believe I was weak. But what they didn't know was that every insult fueled me, every rejection sharpened me. Every night alone built me into someone far stronger than they ever imagined. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so they had to lean in to hear. Do you even realize what you're doing? You cut me out for years, mocked me, told everyone I'd end up with nothing. And now you want to move in? Into a house you didn't pay for, didn't build, and don't deserve? My father sneered. We're your blood, Olivia. That means this house is ours too. Family comes first, always, I laughed bitterly. Funny how you only remember that when it benefits you. The tension in the room was so thick, it felt like the walls themselves were holding their breath. My brother stepped forward, voice dripping with arrogance. You think you can stop us? You can't even imagine what's coming next. But what he didn't realize was that I did imagine it. In fact, I had prepared for this moment for years. And the proof, the very evidence that could shatter their entitled fantasy, was sitting in a folder waiting to be revealed. And when I showed it to them, their world would collapse in an instant. My brother dropped onto my leather couch like it was his throne, scrolling through his phone as if he already owned the place. My father wandered around the living room, tapping on the walls, checking the marble counters and muttering, yes. Solid construction, just the way a family home should be. My mother was already peeking into the guest bedroom, opening closets, commenting on how she'd redecorate. It was like a nightmare unfolding in slow motion, my entire family staging a takeover of my life. I clenched my jaw, my nails digging into my palms. For years I dreamed of this moment, when they would finally see what I had built, what I had become. But I never thought it would start with them barging into my house like conquerors. My brother leaned back and smirked at me. Relax, Olivia. You don't have to be so uptight. Think of it this way. You'll finally have people around you. No more lonely nights in this big, empty house. The audacity made my stomach twist. He wasn't here to keep me company. He was here to take, just like always. Memories rushed back, him mocking me in front of cousins, stealing my allowance, laughing when I couldn't afford college trips. He'd always thrived on my silence. And now? He thought I was still that girl. I forced a cold smile. You think this house is empty? He frowned, confused. My father chuckled. Don't start your dramatic speeches, Olivia. You never fooled anyone. You're still the same weak girl we left behind. I walked slowly to the coffee table, where my phone buzzed again. Another message flashed across the screen. Ready to deliver. Say the word. My heart pounded. The folder I had prepared, the documents, the deeds, the receipts, wasn't just proof of ownership. It was proof of everything they didn't know about me. Proof of the empire I had built in silence. I turned to face them, my voice low but steady. You spent years calling me nothing. You made sure I was left out of every family moment. But here's the thing. You were too busy laughing at me to notice what I was building while you mocked me. My brother laughed, but it sounded forced. Oh, please. Don't act like you're some secret millionaire. You can't even handle a real family. What could you possibly have? I stepped closer, so close I could see his smirk falter. You'll see soon enough. At that moment, the sound of the front gate buzzing echoed through the house. My family froze. My father narrowed his eyes. Who's that? I didn't answer. Instead, I walked calmly to the door and opened it. A man in a suit stood there, holding a thick folder with golden seals stamped on the cover. He nodded respectfully. Miss Olivia, the contracts are ready. Shall I bring them in? My mother's face drained of color. My brother sat up straight. My father clenched his fists. For the first time that night, they didn't look arrogant. They looked nervous. I turned back to them slowly, savoring the silence. Remember when you said I didn't have a family? You were right. But what I do have— I took the folder into my hands, my voice cutting like a blade— is everything you've ever wanted. And in the next few seconds, the truth inside those pages would destroy every illusion they had about me. The air felt heavy, like the entire house was holding its breath. My parents and brother stared at the folder in my hands as if it were a weapon, and in a way, it was. My brother stood up, his fake confidence cracking. What is that? Some loan paper? Don't act like you're special, Olivia. I opened the folder slowly, laying the thick documents on the table so they could see the official seals, the signatures, the sheer weight of it all. This, I said calmly, is proof that not only is this house legally mine, but every property on the next 3 streets is under my name. While you were busy mocking me, I was building a real estate company from scratch. And in case you're wondering, yes, I own more homes than you can count on one hand. My father's jaw tightened. That's impossible. You never what? I cut him off, my voice sharp. Never told you? Why would I? Every time I tried to share something, you laughed at me. So I stopped telling you, and while you were laughing, I was signing contracts, closing deals, and building an empire in silence. My mother's hands trembled as she reached for a chair. You're lying. I pulled out the next paper, a bank statement with 7 figures staring back at them in bold print. Do I look like I'm lying? Silence. Their arrogance shattered in an instant. My brother's face went pale, his lips opening and closing like he couldn't find the words. Finally, he stammered, You can't just keep this all to yourself. We're family. You owe us— I snapped the folder shut, the sound echoing through the room. No, I don't owe you anything. Family doesn't throw you away, mock you, and then show up only when you succeed. Family doesn't try to steal what they never helped build. You made it clear years ago I wasn't one of you. And now? I'm more than fine with that. My father's voice cracked as he tried one last time. You can't just kick us out, I smirked, walking to the front door and pulling it wide open. Watch me. Security guards, already briefed and waiting outside, stepped in. My brother's bravado collapsed instantly. Wait, Olivia, come on. We were just joking. You know we love you, right? His voice shook, desperate. I tilted my head, looking at him with the same coldness they once used on me. Funny. I don't remember love sounding like laughter at my pain. The guards moved forward, and in a matter of minutes, my so-called family was out on the front lawn, their bags scattered around them. My mother cried, my father shouted threats, my brother begged, but none of it mattered anymore. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the weak one standing in the corner. I was the one holding the power. I closed the door slowly, locking it with a satisfying click. The house was quiet again, but this time the silence didn't feel empty. It felt victorious. I walked back to the table, resting my hand on the folder that had changed everything. They thought I had nothing. They thought I was alone. But now the truth was clear. I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving, and the best part? The people who once made me feel invisible now had to live with the fact that the daughter they threw away had risen higher than they could ever dream. That night, I didn't just protect my home. I reclaimed my dignity. And as I stood there in the glow of my success, one thing became crystal clear. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge is simply living better than they ever imagined.